It's Liz from Old Stables Crafts. We're live! I know. Such a thing never happened. Let me just make sure I've got my volume on full, which I have. Just finishing some die cutting. Can't have everything, you know, hunky-dory. Some things have got to be a little bit delayed. So with luck, we're about 20 seconds delayed. About 20 seconds delayed, I think. So when you join, do let me know that you have joined. You can hear me all right, you can see me all right, and let me know where you're from. We're going to be using the Fancy Flora suite today, which is on pages 16 and 17 of your mini catalogue. Hello, Shaz. How are you? Hope things aren't too bad. Let's say I'm just finishing off some die cutting. So we had a team weekend this weekend with my lovely upline. Everything good? Thank you, Shaz. Always good to know, particularly after the last few weeks where things have been anything but good. So yes, we have live, we have camera, we have sound, we have editing. I mean, it's just beyond belief, really. I've just been die cutting a piece of paper, which hopefully will come out okay. Hello, Karen. Hello, other Karen from New Hampshire. So, how is everyone? I'm sorry you couldn't make it as well. It would have been lovely to have seen you, Shaz. There's a 2-day event coming up in June, which if you keep an eye on the events group, Facebook group, that's supposed to be going, the details of that are supposed to be going live soonish. Let me see. Oh, I am live. Good. Let me just see if it's gone live already, just in case, because I do not want to miss out on that. Doesn't look as if it's gone live yet, but who knows. There are 3 new posts. No, that's an old one. Nope. So, who have we got? We've got Carol. Good morning. Lots of hearts. Thank you. Hello, Brenton. I hope everything is okay with you. I know there's been awful weather in New Zealand, and I hope you're not impacted by that. I know you're not in New Zealand, but you know, you're not that far away. Hello, Leslie. Hello, Margaret. Is it sunny with you, Margaret? It's horrible here. It's clearing, but it was very misty this morning. Now, can anyone tell me what is the difference between mist and fog? Because I don't know. And I'm intrigued. I was going to Google it. In fact, I could ask Alexa. Alexa, what's the difference between fog and mist?
According to an Alexa Answers contributor, fog and mist differ by how far you can see through them. Fog is when you can see less than 1,000 meters away, and if you can see further than 1,000 meters, we call it mist.
Okay. So there we go. It's to do with how dense it is. So there we are. Blue skies with Shaz. Okay, I think it's supposed to be clearing from the west, so hopefully we will get some nicer weather later. I want to go for a walk this afternoon. I didn't manage it yesterday. Yesterday, if you follow me on Instagram and you watched my story, it was just one appointment after the other. So I had dental and hygienist appointment first thing. It was just a checkup, but there's a tooth at the back that we've been watching for quite a while. And we've got to that point where it's probably going to be wise to get it crowned before I start my travels this year, because the last thing I want is for half a tooth to fall out when I'm on the cruise to Norway or in Las Vegas. Neither of those would be good. So bye-bye more money. So that was first thing. Then I had a bit of a break. Then I had my hair appointment. I've never been 3 hours at a hairdresser's before, but hey, that's what happened. Oh, I'm frozen. I hope I'm not frozen with you guys. And hello, Sherry. Hello, Karen. No idea in New Hampshire. It's still dark. Hello, Audrey from -3 start, but sunny. Okay. My stream is currently circling, so... Oh, we're back. So, yes, so 3 hours at the hairdresser's. I mean, bless him, he was so meticulous. Unfortunately, there still isn't enough hair for it to look sensible with highlights. Hello, Kate! My friend Kate's on. We spent time together at the weekend and last week. And then no sooner had I finished with the hairdressers that I was off to the chiropractor's. So... highlights looking fabulous. Thank you, Shaz. It's actually all over, but it's a lot. It's not as dark as it was, which means I don't look as ill without makeup as I did. Hello, Jan. You've had a bit of snow yesterday. Wow. Leslie had rain today, but heating up next few days. 39 degrees on Saturday. Wow. Hello, Jenny. Yes, it's still a bit foggy with us, Kate. It's not as bad as it was, but we're a bit further west, so that would make sense if it's clearing from this. Anyway, chatter over. Let's flip down to the desk, because we can. I know, it's just wonderful. I cannot tell you how much work I had to do to get this to sort out. I had to uninstall things, reinstall things, reboot. I cannot tell you how many times. It was bizarre. Jenny said oops. Don't know why Jenny said oops. Happy Valentine's Day. Yes, Karen, absolutely. It is Valentine's Day. We don't really do Valentine's that much in the UK. You know, I gave my husband a Valentine's card. But we have a pocket of fog in our village usually. Yeah, we normally have frost where we are. We are a frost pocket. Anywho, so, fancy Flora. Now, if you are on Instagram, make sure you follow Stamping Through the Catalogue, which there are 4 demonstrators who are also, most of them I think are employees of Stamping Up on the design side, and they literally stamp through the catalogue. So if you need inspiration for the 2-tone floral bundle, that's what they're doing today. Hello, Jan from A Foggy Weekly. Oh, because you said hello twice. Okay, Jenny, you're allowed to say hello twice. It's fine. So this is actually the image that I used on my slide this morning. A bit scary that I've actually done a slide, which isn't blank. So we've got the paper, which is gorgeous. I have used a little bit of it, but you'll get the general idea from this. I'm going to use this piece. But it's just, it's as if it's been painted with acrylic paints in a very loose style, but it's, I mean, I would imagine it is taken from photos of actual, you know, art, but it's gorgeous. Huge list of colours. I mean, ridiculously long list of colours. I have dug all of the colours out so that I have them to hand, but the ones they highlight are Calypso Coral, Daffodil Delight, Soft Succulent, Balmy Blue, Orchid Oasis and Fresh Freesia. But there are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 colours in the paper. There's also the iridescent pastel gems, the Pool Party Grosgrain ribbon, which is gorgeous, love it. Fine shimmer paper pack, which I didn't bring over because I'm not going to be using it, and 2 stamp sets. I know. Hello, Nora. What have we got? Just catching up. You had a stroke last night, Jenny. No! I'm not surprised you're unsettled. I hope you're having it looked at. I hope you are having medical supervision. Hello, Jan from Florida. You can't remember some of last night. I'm not surprised, Jenny. But please make sure you're seeing someone medical. You had the turn over the road. And you've no idea how you got across the road to come home. Oh, wow. But please let me know that you've seen someone medical about it, because mini strokes are not to be overlooked, I think is what I'm saying. Leslie has everything on the page. She has the whole suite. So 2 stamp sets. We have one that is just image and one that is just sentiments, which is actually quite nice because it means if you've already got lots of sentiments, you can get just the images, and if you don't want the images, you can just get the sentiments. You rang the ambulance and was in hospital. Good, good. I'm glad to hear it. So they've also both got dies, which if I turn the page, you will have a better idea of. So there is an enormous die, which I will be using as a mask. This one, which, let's find something darker to put it against. That is probably best. They often lead up to... Absolutely, Jenny, that is precisely my concern. So I'm going to be using that as a mask. But we've got all of these florals, and there are dies for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of the images, plus the large mask. And then on the something fancy, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 sentiments. And we've got, well, you can see which ones have got dies that go automatically. Plus there's little bits of what I will call frou-frou. So some little bits that you can die cut out of for your label, for your tags, that sort of thing. Ooh, that's nice. They've used Orchid Oasis to colour the Grow Grain ribbon. Ooh, like that. Anyway, I'm going to start with a really simple card, which is going to use this paper. I'm the granddaughter of 2 stroke patients. So you need to keep an eye on you. Hello, Carol. Happy Valentine's to you as well. As I say, we don't really do Valentine's in the UK, but thank you anyway. So I'm just going to grab some Orchid Oasis, which I don't use that much, so I'm going to. So Orchid Oasis and some Night of Navy. And I'm going to start with a really simple card. Where are we? 11:15. Oops. 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 So, hoping that might be the right sort of size. Ooh, I think it might be. Good. Okay, so that's that and that's that. Let's have a go. So, as I say, really simple card to start with. You're somewhat familiar with it, but that's not necessarily good, Jenny. Right, so 5 and 5/8 by 3 and 7/8, my usual matte size. So it's already 3 and 7/8 wide. And then I'm going to cut this so that it's a long, thin card. So I'm just going to score it and then cut it, because that way I only have to score once, and then I end up with 2 card bases. So that's that. Then this I'm going to cut at 3 3/4. So that's spare. And then at 5 1/2. Yeah, I think I'm going to go that way. You've got a big party for the kids in your class today. Oh, wow. Hubby and I are going out for an evening meal because it's Valentine's. I was sitting doing some admin for the parish council, as opposed to, my work, last evening. And it was about 7:05. We normally eat at 7:30. And it was about 7:05. Yes. And I suddenly realised that although I had a selection of Valentine's cards over here, had I actually written in any of them for him? No. So I did dash across here and grab a card, wrote in it, and it was one that inevitably I had not put a liner in, so that was fine because I just wrote on the liner and then stuck it in, and then put it up on his desk so it was there for when he went up this morning. His card to me has just arrived, as in he sends off for his cards and it hadn't arrived, so I'll be getting it later today, I guess. You love the paper, it's so pretty. It's wonderful, Jan. Your grandson was in hospital last night. Oh no! He had to get a CAT scan of his head. Got almost knocked out playing basketball. Oh no. Oh, and you're seeing Andrea Bocelli. Oh, wonderful. We're going to a local, it's sort of bistro pub thing. I mean, it's lovely. We go there reasonably regularly. We booked somewhere in Oxford, and then we saw an advert for this place that's nearer to us. And so we're going there. Right, so that's going to go on there, and that's going to go on there. But I'm going to add some ribbon, and I want a sentiment. So I'm going to go... I think, let's see which ones they put with a... Yeah, I think I might just go with a thank you. Yes, I will. I'll go with a thank you. So I'm going to stick with Orchid Oasis for my sentiment, which I am going to stamp on white. There's a piece of white. So let's see. Let's go thank you. Had an ECG today, and you're having chemical stress test on the 1st of March. Couldn't do treadmill because of your rotten back. Oh no. Heart not pumping properly. Oh no. Aren't we... Aren't we a fine bunch? Yes, absolutely we are, Karen. How are you, by the way? Are you well? Are you okay? So, Orchid Oasis. I have to say, having been going to the chiropractor for a couple or so weeks, I'm beginning to feel the benefit. And I know there's a sort of love-hate relationship with a lot of people and chiropractors. But I had some really good reports from about the one that I'm going to. No, that's not the dies I want. I want these dies. So I was on, you know, in inverted commas, on recommendation. So these are the bits of frou-frou that I was talking about, which are cutouts rather than separate. Hello, Wendy. So, yes, I am beginning to feel the benefit of going to the chiropractor. Right, okay, so I know most of you know that this is a limited edition mini cut and emboss, but for those of you who don't, this is a limited edition mini cut and emboss in boho blue, which is going to be one of the new in colours. We have in colours, we have 2 lots of in colours at any one time, and they run for 2 years, but obviously they alternate, they're staggered. So we're about to lose 5, and then we'll be getting 5 new ones. Now, there's some stuff on the demo website, because we have our own dedicated website, about if you're having problems cutting with the mini cut and emboss, and indeed with the ordinary cut and emboss. If you find that it's too tight, they are deliberately tight because then you get a better cut. But if you find that you can't wind your plates through, A, stagger them so that they're a sort of E shape, and B, you may find that you have more success if you use plate 3, the light grey plate, rather than plate 1. Plate 3 is slightly narrower this way, so if you are struggling, that would be the first thing to try. Right, so we have our thank you, which does have an up and a down, by the way, so it's these sides are longer than these sides. So it's not, so if I put this back on here, it doesn't line up unless I have it the right way round. Does that make sense? You had your first chemo last week, mild side effects, mild headache and tired. The side effects, depending on the chemo you have, and even depending, I mean, that depends very much on which cancer you have, but also on the specifics of your cancer. Some people have far fewer side effects than others. I mean, my father, bless him, he had to have just oral chemo because he had a chronic form of leukemia, and he was really stressing out because I had an okay time, but mostly because I was being positive about it. But it was tough. And he was anticipating that he was going to go through the same kind of thing, which, as he was best part 30 years older than me, would obviously have been harder. But because his was oral, it was much milder anyway. But mental attitude has a lot, if you can be positive about it, then that does help. I was on steroids immediately after each chemo, which meant I was bouncing off the ceiling. So I just invested in a Paperwhite Kindle, and I would read until 7 o'clock in the morning without sleeping. So fingers crossed it goes okay. What are these dies? So this is the Fancy Flora Suite, Wendy. So it's the Something Fancy bundle, which is sentiments with dies, and the two-tone Flora with dies. So that's going to go there. That's going to go there, and we may add some bits. So I'm just going to stick this in, flat onto my Orchid Oasis, and I am going to sandwich my ribbon with Seal Plus even. Don't know if I've got any glue left in this. Hello, Deborah from Michigan. Work calls finish on replay. Have a good day, Jan. Judith, my friend Judith. So Judith has been a customer of mine for some time, and a large envelope arrived at the back end of last week. And bless her, because the new online exclusive uses Pretty Peacock, and I had mentioned that I had one whole sheet of card left. She sent me some Pretty Peacock, which is one of her favourite colours. So she had got some when it was retiring, and she sent me some, which was wonderful. Thank you so much, Judith. That was so kind. How old was I when I was diagnosed with cancer? It was 10 years ago. So I was 52. So it was 10 years ago last summer. Which was relatively young. It wasn't that young, but they said I was young. Didn't feel it. But yes, 52. My mother, who was diagnosed after me, was in her 80s. She had radiotherapy rather than chemotherapy. I didn't have radiotherapy because we decided that it wasn't going to do that much to improve my survival rate. So they decided they would leave it in the toolbox just in case I had a recurrence on the same side, because you can only have radiotherapy once in one area. You're a bit sore tonight, are you, Jenny? As I say, I'm not going to let this get me... Great, Karen. Positive. Good. Keep positive. Absolutely. Wendy likes Orchid Oasis. It's... thank you, Judith, but it was like, I love my customers. They're so nice. Yes, it was both. We both had breast cancer. Hers was a different, so there are lots of forms of breast cancer, and hers was different from mine. Mine was estrogen positive, and hers was what they call triple negative, so it was just, really, it was just old age, bless her. Right, so we have these.
Sorry, I'm not sure.
My smart speaker is apparently not that smart. So we have these lovely so-called pastel. I don't think they're pastel, but anyway. So I'm going to use some of these. I'm guessing they're Calypso Coral. I don't know, but I'm guessing they're Calypso Coral. Just around here a bit, but this one's going to come out there. So that's my first card. I know I haven't put anything on the inside, but you know I have been. So, yeah. You had chemo at 28, Shaz. Good Lord. Right, so that's our first card. Right, second card is going to be using the mask that I have cut. So this. So I'm going to attach a piece of basic white to the reverse of my card. And I'm going to grab some low-tack tape. Shaz loves this sweet. I was really sceptical about it. And to be perfectly honest, I think these are the first cards I've made with it, but I really quite like it. I think it's because it's very abstract, and I wasn't convinced by the complete abstract look. Right, so I put my card on the back, so I can now turn it over, and I've got no impairment, although I am going to put some down the sides as well because it's beginning to lift a bit. I cut the mask with out of thick white, so pop those there so that they stay in place. I'm just going to grab my very tatty mini thing. I've got my purple brush, and I'm going to use Fresh Fougere. Your mother and sister both had cervical cancer at 28. Good Lord. That's young. Right. So, Orchid Oasis. And I'm going to be doing quite light. This is to make a background, so I don't want it in your face. I want it just not flat white behind. Then I'm going to be doing some stamping and die cutting of flowers and the like, and then I'll put it all together. So as I say, I'm not being heavy-handed with it, I'm just being really quite light, and you'll see how light when I pull this up, and it will actually be darker than you anticipate. It is wonderful, Sherry, isn't it? This die is amazing. I did find I had to run it through the cut and emboss a couple of times to get it to all release, and I also flipped it over, so I had the die pushing up as well as flat. I do find that helps sometimes. If you're finding that bits aren't cutting properly, flip those two top plates over and have the die upside down, and that can help. Just want to make sure that I've got colour going through the little bits, because there are quite a few very narrow bits which obviously are going to be harder to get colour through than the more open spaces. But as I say, I'm doing quite a light hand. I am holding this. I mean, you can do it like this, you can grasp the whole thing and do it really tight, so I'm doing something between the two, just to have a reasonably light hand. Right, okay. Now I can use this card again, this mask again, probably with a pinky mauvey colour again, but I can, because there will be some ink left on the card. Now obviously I could flip it over and do it the other side. This is the die you run with wax paper. Yeah, that will help release it, definitely. What's the colour? It's Orchid Oasis. No, it's not. It's Fresh Fougere. It's Fresh Fougere. So there is our piece. Now I obviously need to trim it down. and I may actually put it on a fresh freesia mat. So this is, the die is sized so that it's more North America than international A4. Not a problem. Don't have an issue with it. Just saying. Right, where's my fresh freesia? There we go. I have some more fresh freesia coming because someone has ordered a mixed pack of card, and I discovered I had 3 sheets of fresh freesia left, so I have an order coming, supposed to arrive tomorrow, with fresh freesia in it, amongst other things. Not least of all, the bundle for my next class that I thought I had, but I hadn't ordered. You could do a brayer. You could. Oh, ombre. You could do ombre. Absolutely. You could do whatever you want. Right, so I'm going to have to cut off the bits that are white, obviously. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut those off and then work backwards as to how narrow this is going to be. So I'm going to put it down a little bit, so it's going to come out at 5 1/4. So I have taken 3/8 off my normal width. So I'm going to trim 1/8 off one side and 2/8 off the other, only so that I end up with a nice clean edge both sides. And this should then be proportional to that. And it works. Don't you love it when it works? So, but yes, you could do an ombre. Absolutely, Wendy. Definitely could do an ombre. Right, I need some basic white again. Oh, let's use that piece. So I can do some stamping. Now, each of the flowers have 2 layers. You can tell I haven't used it because it's still all nicely on its sheet. So I'm going to do, we're going to do a couple of flowers. So I'll do the very large one, which goes with that one. And I will do, that looks like that, oops, that looks like that. So let's do that one, which goes with that. Yep, it goes with that. And I also want some leaves. Can't decide about those and those. I will do them, so I've got them. I'm just going to turn my fire off, which is a bit warm. Right, okay, so I'm going to introduce some other colours, but first one I'm going to do is going to be an Orchid Oasis, and it's going to be the large one. I haven't used this stamp before, so I'm just prepping it. You could ordered new fresh freesia ink pad and card. Yeah, definitely going to miss fresh freesia. You never know, it may come back. We're expecting an announcement about colours at the beginning of March. I'm hopeless at cutting off smidgens. Always end up with more off one side than the other. Yeah, I know what you mean, Audrey. It's really about measuring your result rather than... So rather than taking 1/4 inch off each side, I would cut to the longer measurement. So if I want 5 1/2, I would cut to 5 1/2 rather than taking the... Does that make sense? Probably not. Anyway, right. And also, it's much easier to cut a small bit off with a guillotine than with a trimmer, because you get a cleaner edge. So if you want a very, very small piece. Right, I'm going to do second generation for the overlay, and I've done the dark first because it's much easier to stamp your dark and then your light, because you can see the dark. If you can never mount a card straight, I would say don't. Make it an obvious not straight, if that makes sense. Right, so I'm then going to go, I will go Orchid Oasis, I think. I know blue flowers are, there's not that many blue flowers, but they're not, they do exist. I wish they would bring back the little guillotine. Yeah, the guillotine was much like the boho blue cut and emboss in that it was a joining offer. So we're going Orchid Oasis, because blue flowers do exist. I mean, seriously, they exist. And then I'll bring in, I think, Evening Evergreen for my green, rather than Soft Succulent. No, that's fine. That's fine and dandy. Oh, it would be even more fine and dandy if I managed to stamp off without a hole in the middle of it. Right, so the key to this is to find where you're lining it up. There, I think. You were lucky enough to get one. Yeah, I managed to snaffle a couple or so. It is a stunning image, Sherry, absolutely stunning. Hello, Gwen from North Carolina. You got the guillotine when you joined. Yeah, I love the guillotine. It's not in my studio at the moment. I must bring it back. I was using it for December Daily, which I haven't finished yet. Right, okay, so is that going to fit on there? Probably not. So I'm going to need to do some stamp cleaning. I must wash my stamp cleaner because it's so dirty. But I think I can find a little bit that's not too bad. The problem with washing it isn't the washing, it's the getting it dry afterwards. We have a thing in the UK which I think doesn't translate, but it's called an airing cupboard, which I did a video many years ago on how to clean your Stampin' Scrub, and I talked about once I'd got it clean, putting it in the airing cupboard, and nobody knew what I was talking about. But it is a thing in the UK. What it is a warm room. Basically, it's where you have your hot water tank and your boiler and those sorts of things. Two-step stamping's lovely. So yes, I would wash it and put it in my airing cupboard, but it's still going to take probably 2 days to dry. So yeah, am I going to go Evening Evergreen or will I go Soft Succulent? No, I'm going to go Evening Evergreen because I think it needs the solid depth of colour. So again, prepping. Some very, very old friends of my parents, oh, I could do both, had a boiler room, which they had oil-fired central heating, which was quite common in the day, back in the day when gas wasn't piped everywhere. And if you put something in there to dry, it would take about 20 minutes. It was so warm in there. You ummed and ahed about this stamp set and procrastinated. You bought a second Stampin' Scrub, so I always have... Oh, what a clever idea. And yes, you know what an airing cupboard is. Because you are ex-POM. You're an honorary POM still. Right, okay, so time to die cut. So maybe I need to order a second Stampin' Scrub. I did have more than one. I don't anymore. Right, okay. Dies. Something fancy dies. No, I don't want the something fancy dies. I want the other ones. I want these ones. I want the two-tone Flora ones. So we need that one. Yes. And that one rather. Yep, and that one. Quite often you'll get doubles. We don't have doubles on this one, which is unfortunate because I want double leaves. But hey, it's fine. Right, mini cut and emboss. Do you know we've only got 2 weeks of Sale-a-bration left? Can you believe it? Don't use a chamois. I'm schizophrenic about this chamois. I use it if I'm travelling, so if I'm away from home. Yeah, I do, and I used to use it a lot, but I actually prefer the Stampin' Scrub because I think it does a better job. Simple as. So yeah. I suppose I could use the chamois for a couple of days while I'm waiting for my scrub to dry. Because I'm away doing scrapbooking this weekend for 2 whole days. And yes, I know I've got to do a scrapbooking class. I do know. But I like to take my scrub rather than my chamois. The chamois is great if you're using the Stamparatus, and which is actually why it was it's hardly invented, but why it first came out is because of the Stamparatus. So it is great for that, because trying to clean your stamps with a scrub and the Stamparatus is challenging, shall we say. That should fit there. So yes, replacement pads would be very good, yes. Some new build homes here in Oz are starting to put airing cupboards in the laundry room. Yay! Just slatted wooden shelves. Oh, okay, Audrey. I asked for a pulley to be put in the utility room. Oh, that's a good idea. Yes, we had a like clothes rail in our utility room at our last house, and that worked really well. But here we do have quite a nice airing cupboard that we inherited. Right, so everything's lined up square. That's the problem, so it's not going through. So let's do the E. There we go, and it goes through without any problem at all. And while I'm winding, note 1N. Can you do me a favour? I'm confused, Jenny. Note 1N. I'm confused. Like the Stampin' Scrub because the Stampin' Mist conditions my stamps. Absolutely, Leslie. Yep, replacement pads. Mum had a clothes rack. Yeah, we never had a clothes rack at any of the houses that we lived as kids. We did move quite a lot. My parents always said whenever the school fees went up, because bless them, they educated us privately. Don't think it made any difference, certainly in my case. Probably a bad idea, actually. But, yeah. So we ended up with having to move whenever the school fees went up. Which was quite frequently, I have to say. Okay, so that I can use on this. Let's just snip that down so I don't have more card than I need. Ow. So I just tweaked my hand a bit. I've had to order, and they're on their way, some new fingerless gloves. I have really painful joints here. And so, which is why when I'm not on camera, I will wear fingerless gloves. And my husband bought them for me 2 winters ago, I think. And I have darned them, but they are beginning to fall to pieces. So I have succumbed and I'm getting some new ones, which are going to be a bright kind of orange yellow colour. I've asked them to see if they can match them to a sunflower. Can't think why. Right, so I need to stagger my plates. Here we go. Didn't need to have them quite so spread out. You love darning. I quite enjoy darning, and in fact, what I try and do is catch it before knitted things need to be darned, so you can follow the stitches round and you don't actually have to invent the hole, or fill in the hole. You just go over the stitches that are already there. Much easier. But yeah, there is a point, there is a moment, and it's the edges that are going, so it's not even the knitting that's going, it's the edge, it's the cast on cast off edge that's going. So less than ideal. Let's go in that way, because that's nearer the thing. There we go. Right, so then we're just going to pop this together, and then hopefully we'll have time for one more quick card. I'm not putting a sentiment on this card, because I'm not. It's my card, and I'm not putting a sentiment on it. So, right. Hello, Kay. How are you? Are you keeping well? Right, let's not throw the dies away. That's the one negative with sticking your dies to your card, is you can end up throwing your dies away. Not a great idea. Right, what was I doing? Oh yes, that. Right, so we've got our bit and our bit. So this is going to go on here. I'm going to make this an expensive card to send. I'm going to pop up my masked layer. You prefer the Stampin' Scrub to the chamois. As I say, I would agree. The chamois has its place. So when we had our team retreat yesterday, no, day before yesterday, that was a time when I would use my chamois. But generally I will use my scrub. I'd forgotten I had it for some months and was not getting annoyed with the chamois, but my stamps just weren't as clean as I wanted them, and then I remembered that there was a Stampin' Scrub. So I dug it out and it's much better. So the chamois has its place, but as a general day-to-day stamp cleaner, I would always use the scrub, given a choice. Talking about things not being straight. Now, if you have trouble sticking things straight with dimensionals on, which are obviously an almost instant bond, as opposed to the glue, you can always put a dot of glue on your dimensionals so that there's a bit of slippage. I'm not putting ribbon on, I'm just going to have a cluster. I may cut those in half, as in have 2 leaves rather than 2 leaves. Can I tell you how happy I am that my live is actually working? Right, glue. Mini dots. Where are my mini dimensionals? I thought I had a sheet of mini dimensionals. I do. I do. I was going to have a little cry otherwise if I couldn't find my mini dimensionals. So this one is going to be raised at the end as opposed to that one which isn't stuck down. You've got a darning mushroom. Oh, wow. Oh, I would love a darning mushroom. I'm sure they're available. My mother got rid of hers before she passed away. I don't know where it ended up. But a darning mushroom is wonderful. Great for socks. Some people possibly wonder what we're talking about, Audrey. I thought it was not recommended to use the mist on the photopolymer stamps. I would say complete opposite, Sherry. We live in a massive house. Stone floors downstairs. Rayburn! Oh! Yes, ice on the inside of the windows. Absolutely. You haven't lived until you've had ice on the inside of your windows. I remember when I first moved to my flat that I really couldn't afford. It was when, I mean, it was as the housing market was beginning to drop, but it hadn't actually reached rock bottom back in the late 90s, early 90s. Anyway, then, and I really couldn't afford my house, my flat, but I bought it anyway. There comes a point where if you're going to get onto the housing ladder, you just have to get onto the housing ladder. But I couldn't afford it. So I didn't have heating on most of the winter. And I would wake up with ice on the inside of my windows. But it was my flat. So that was fine. Okay, so let's pop that flat. And then I'll put the other two raised. So we'll pop that under there. Will I put them raised? Possibly. Is that the right? No, that was the wrong end. Let's pop that at the right end. Yeah, my last card will only take seconds, she says, hopefully. So we should be able to get a third one in before it's time to finish. Just holding that in place. And then that, no, I don't think I need that. Right, so let me grab some card. I'm doing thick white. If in doubt, go for thick white. Oh, I think I've just thrown that on top of the sticky tape for some dies. Never mind. Okay. Glue. Oh no! Pain, no! Oh, thank you, K Prairie Paper Crafters, and other K, I'm really sorry that you're in so much pain. Someone's just delivered something. You won't be here on Thursday. That's fair enough. You've got your next chemo, maybe, or blood tests. You used to get tonsillitis badly each winter. Mum used to light the coal fire in your bedroom. Ended up having tonsils out when you were 19. Wow, I was 4 when I had my tonsils out. I may have said this before, I'm going to say it again. So we were brought up in a house that did not have central heating. Card. So that's fine. My brother and I shared a heater. We just didn't share a bedroom. So this is attached, obviously, to the large die. And I'm hoping that I can pull it off without bringing too many of the little bits, because I can sort the little bits out after we've finished. Ooh, don't tear. Thank you. Right. Okay, that's off. Now, I've lifted this idea from the catalogue. great source of inspiration. I'll just get this bit out and I will show you where I've got the inspiration. So we've got, if I pop it there, you may be able to see it properly. So on the first page, I think, yes. So, whoops. So there's this card here, which is on soft succulent, and I was thinking, oh, that's pretty. So I have die cut my paper. I'm just going to get that off there before it sticks. I have die cut my paper, and I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use Orchid Oasis as a background because I want something that's going to show through. So, Orchid Oasis. Orchid Oasis. And what they've done, which is rather clever, is they've taken their snips and they've just chosen an area to trim down. I'm trying to think where I can... So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by cutting my card down, because then I'll know where I'm going. Hello, Sally from Moreland, Georgia. Oh, bless you, thank you. Yeah, we lived without central heating for years. And actually, hubby and I don't use a huge amount of heating. Even, you know, when it was really cold, we used the heating. But we don't have it on. We're not, just because it's winter, we want to walk around in t-shirt and shorts, people. It's winter, therefore we use socks and thermals and all those good things. So, okay. I am going to go, I may trim it off at the bottom a bit as well, although I'm tempted to not. I'm tempted to have a bit of a border this side. In fact, I could have a bit of a border top and bottom. I must replace my trimmer blade, it's going blunt. Right, so I'm going to come up here. So I'm going to get rid of this. Well, actually, I'm not going to get rid of that leaf. I thought I was going to, flower rather. I thought I was going to get rid of that flower, but I'm not. Because if I get rid of that flower, then these leaves are going in the wrong direction. So that's that. That follows round there. So all I'm doing is deciding which bits I want to keep and which bits I'm going to get rid of, and then just dissecting what I don't want away from what I do. And I'm following what the shape should be of what's left. If that makes sense. Maybe doesn't. But I loved the idea from the catalogue. And obviously you could get more than one card out of this if you were so inclined. So let's pretend that that is part of that flower. So I'm just doing a bit of, you know, I don't know if that's part of that flower or that flower, so it's going to be part of that flower. And I don't want that flower. Do want that flower. Where have I cut? I want that flower and that leaf and that leaf. Right, so that's going to go down there. I'm going to trim it. So I'm going to go as near to 90 degrees as I can with that. And I think I'm going to go there and just trim that leaf so that it's leaf shaped. Right, I'm going to stick this onto here and then I'm going to trim this bit off because I want a little bit at the bottom, glue. Wow, Audrey, that's amazing. It took so long. Okay, awful. Please be better. Please be well. Please be well, everyone. Is our bathroom heated? There is a towel rail in our bathroom. We've got one of those showers, those walk-in showers that doesn't have a door. You just walk into it. So what we tend to do is put the shower on so that by the time it's running warm, or temperature, it's heated up the whole room, and then get a nice warm towel off the towel rail. We have got underfloor heating in there, but it's electric, which is incredibly expensive to run. So we aren't using that this winter. We've used it in previous winters, but we're trying to be mindful of our electricity bill. So yeah. And we did have the house that I basically grew up in. We moved there when I was 2 and left when I was 7. So it's the house I kind of remember as my first home, although it wasn't because we lived somewhere else first. We didn't have heating in the bathroom, but we did have a bar heater that was on the ceiling. So that would be put on. I have to say it made not the blindest bit of difference. Right, so that's going to go there. I'm going to pop this on from above because that way I can line up that edge nicely and then just press, and we have that nice floral. Like that. And I'm actually thinking I'm going to do a that way card. Landscape, that's the word I'm looking for. Landscape. And there is still enough to do something else with. So I need another card base is what I need. And we are doing the if in doubt go for thick white, because I'm conscious of the time. Right, okie cookie. And then I think just a sentiment, probably. Oh. Lots of lovely thoughts going on in the chat. Now, if you're watching on replay, do remember you can leave comments below the description bar. Don't forget to subscribe if you don't already. That is such a fuzzy edge. I definitely need to put a new blade in my trimmer. So yes, do remember to like if you like it. Subscribe if you don't already. Sentiment. I'm going to go you matter to so many. And let's see what colours have we got there. I'm going to go balmy blue. Bye, Wendy. Email whenever you want. Always, well, I say always around. I'm not always around. I, do have things to do. Particularly yesterday. Right, which dies am I wanting? Those ones. So, go that die. Have I got enough room? Yes, I have. So that's all right. Let's drop the stamp happily not into the ink. You matter to so many. Ooh, I just had a thought, which is dangerous, I know. Right, quick die cut, and then we're basically ready to rock and roll with a quick replay or recap of what we've done. Let's have that straight, shall we? That's better. May or may not be straight. Done, thumbs up. Thank you, Leslie. Yeah, time difference is not great for the Thursday. Gosh, there were 32 consecutive views. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Let's pop that somewhere where I don't throw it in the bin. Okay, don't need those. What I was just thinking, though, was... Oh, that would work. Yes, let's do that. I've got the... This was part of the gnome suite in the... Oh, no, don't like that. I was thinking that, but maybe not. Oh, we'll use that. We'll use that instead. That'll be nice. Orchid Oasis Metallic. So, I'm going to do a quick zigzag with the Orchid Oasis Metallic ribbon. Got glue on my nail varnish. You get all sorts of comments out of me, don't you? Glue on my nail varnish, like anyone could care that there's glue on my nail varnish. That'll work. Right, okay. Quick bit of that. Then we will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 'You're lambing at the moment. Oh, yeah. The local farm to us. Well, we have lots of farms around us, but there's one that does lambing sheds that you can go and visit. So cute, so cute, and they have piglets and goats and all sorts. And they do it over a kind of weekend as a money raiser, and it's so much fun. Thank you, Shaz. I have to say, the reason I have this pale pink on is because it's a 45-second drying nail varnish, and I needed it to be quick. But yes. Oh, that's sort of wrong. Oh, never mind. I was thinking it's sort of the wrong way up with those loops, but it's fine. It's not the most amazing card I've ever made, but it was this bit that I wanted to show you as much as anything. Let's go that way. These are the wrong way up. They should be coming down, but never mind. Let's pop some of the iridescent pastel, whatever we're calling them, bits on to really bling it up. Right, quick recap. So we have got the one we just made, complete with a bit of stray ribbon, the one we did first, and the one we did in the middle. So those are the 3 cards that we have made this morning. I planned that one, I sort of planned that one, and I sort of planned that one, but other than that. Your 17-year-old daughter asked if nail varnish was the same as nail polish. Okay. Oh, wonderful. Anyway, so yes, there we go. So as I say, if you've enjoyed, a few thumbs up would be lovely. You can share to Pinterest if you wish. I will change the heading as soon as I've finished so that you know if you're watching the replay. I know it does take a little while to kind of fall through, but just so that you know, I will be doing that. So Let me flip the camera up. Where are we? There we are. There we are. We're there. That's where I'm going. So, thank you very much for joining me. Sorry, just finding where I was. Thank you very much for joining me again today. Thankfully, the IT gods have been shining on me today, and it's all gone reasonably well. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Margaret. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, Gwen. Thank you, Judith. Thank you, Nora. You like the middle one especially. This is so easy to do. It's just a piece of paper. It's great. Love it when you can do a card with a piece of paper. Thank you, Brenton. Thank you, Karen. Happy Valentine's Day, Sally. So, thank you very much indeed for joining me. See you on next Tuesday. Absolutely. So, for those of you who can join me because of the time difference, on Thursday, I will be 3 o'clock in the afternoon, UK time. It's now 12:10. So I will see some of you then. If you've got any questions or comments, remember you can ask those below once this has finished streaming. I'm not going to promise that it's going to be on my website because I've been really bad with my website and I must be better. But I probably need to get through Sale-a-bration. Probably. Anyway, have a fantastic rest of your day. I hope to see some of you on Thursday and see the rest of you maybe next Tuesday. So thank you very much indeed. I will see you again soon, I hope. Keep well, keep safe. Thoughts and prayers to those of you who are going through rough times, either medically or geographically, weather-wise. And yeah, look after yourselves. Bye-bye.